Hello, welcome to the...
Remembrances Library.
Exactly, that's the name. I came up with the name and I forgot it.
I've got it written down. Look, I got my notebook.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody does. So yeah, basically we are here to tell you a whole bunch of lore about Warhammer. This is going to be a lore podcast. Our inaugural episode, our first episode. We're going to try and make this, a thing.
Yep.
We're just two dudes talking about Warhammer, painting little minis.
Two nerds going at it about lore that's been
established since the 70s.
Yep. We're going to tell you absolutely everything that you need to know in this one episode. Ready? Go. Totally kidding.
No. You gave me a heart attack.
No, everything, the entirety of it right now. No.
So,
just kidding.
John Warhammer. He's looking for the 40,000 Warhammers.
Yep.
And then Horus Heresy shows. No. So basically, we're gonna start basically talk about everything from these first couple of episodes, 20, 30 episodes or so. They're going to be basically a whole bunch of stuff about world building, mainly the Horus Heresy.
Sort of just a general overview of the grand scheme of things.
Exactly, yeah. Basically just a grand overview of everything that the world of Warhammer has to offer.
Yeah. The
building blocks of what makes Warhammer as it is, because Warhammer 40,000 is what has been since the 70s and everything like that. Like I said, Warhammer 40,000 is their main thing. The Horus Heresy came a little bit later. But yeah, so Warhammer 40,000 is the main thing. Yep. So all of this stuff is just the build up to actually talking about this big world that has come to be and all that stuff. And we just want to... We both love the world that we're living in. Yep. The Warhammer world, the world that we live in sucks.
Well, I mean, it's six of one, half dozen of the other right now.
That's true. We're getting there.
Well, sometimes getting there.
Yeah. I mean, given a couple of years ago, I'm sure Nurgle was having an absolute ball with COVID.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Are we still allowed to say COVID?
Are we? I don't even know.
I don't know. I think they took it out of the terms of service.
Ah, well, we'll figure that out later. Anyways.
Yeah, so...
we're nerds. Who are we?
Big nerd. I'm Ethan. I am an alcoholic. No.
Hi, Ethan. Welcome.
Thank you. No, I got into Warhammer because of you, actually.
Yeah.
I saw the models. I was like, oh, these would be cool to paint, but I never actually ended up painting them.
Yep.
I never got around to buying them and stuff until one day I was like, kind of getting bored of it. I painted Dungeons and Dragons minis a lot because I was trying, so hard to find a DM. Yeah. So I was just like, this would be really cool to use in the campaign.
Just paint all of the minis, and then no matter what group you get in, you're going to have a mini for anything you need.
And then I never got into a group. And then I started painting the minis, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. And I started learning about the lore, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. And I started really learning about the lore, and I was like, oh my god, this is horrible. I want to go home.
Where were the sunshines and daisies I was promised?
Where was I promised? Where was the sunshine I was promised in the grim, dark universe of the 41st millennium? But yeah, no. So, and then how did you get into it?
I first got into it with painting the minis. An old friend of mine, we found some minis on Facebook Marketplace and then just started going ham, and then ended up going into a store, and then I found out that there was all this lore, and I was like, ooh, things for me to read.
Yeah.
And then I never read anything. So the student then surpassed the master, where now Ethan knows far more than I do at this point. I know bits here and there, a couple of really niche, odd things, and then...
when you're a Xenos-loving elf, of course you would only know a certain amount of things because you don't have the vast knowledge that is the Imperium of Man. Yep. I was going to say a no word.
But on that note, so I paint a Drakari army that I've been slowly working on over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And then also was getting into the lore over that time. Didn't get super far in, kind of dropped it, but now we're picking it back up with this.
Yeah.
And yeah, what do you play? What do you play? Paint?
Oh, the best Space Marine Legion there is. I paint Blood Angels. Paint Blood Angels. Play eventually. I don't play right now. Blood Angels Fourth Company is what the lovely little green teardrop on their right pauldron says. Dyslexia be damned.
Yep.
But yeah, no, the first ever Warhammer mini I painted was an Ultramarine.
Same here.
That's when I realized they suck.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere to know you can do better.
Look, I think it's the passage for every single Space Marine player to figure out that the Ultramarines are just the worst when it comes to painting.
Like, no hate to anybody that does play Ultramarines, but you're basic.
Yeah, basic.
With love.
Except for Robu Gilliman.
Bless you.
No, it's you really don't know the Primarchs, do you?
Nope.
That was the conversation before. This is how many Primarchs do you know? And you said Corvus Corax, and that's it.
Pretty much. Yep.
Yeah, no. Robute Gilliman is the Primarch for the Ultramarines.
Right.
Robot Girly Man.
Yes, that
there's
one.
another car. Yeah, so we'll get into Primarchs later on.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be its whole own
So
section.
What are we talking about today, Vincent?
Basically, everything from the beginning, the
beginning.
That's all, folks.
Yeah.
From the beginning, 6 million BCE.
6 million BCE. Yeah.
6 million BCE up to 30 million when.
Oh no, 30th millennium.
30th millennium.
Yeah.
30
million is way past Warhammer.
Right.
Yeah.
I failed math in high school, so whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, from the beginning of the interesting stuff all the way up until the Horus Heresy starts.
Yes.
Just about
that. Just at the beginning of the creation of the Primarchs.
Right.
And then we will get into the beginning of the Horus Heresy. Once we've talked about all the Primarchs, we're going to talk about the Primarchs in order of discovery.
Yes.
So we're going to start with Horus. And we're gonna finish off with Alpharius Omegon, and that's going to be our next 20-ish episodes,
something like that.
Yeah, just because we want to get you guys, anybody who's listening, into each one of these Primarchs, the universe that is set up before the Horus Heresy. Because anybody that plays Warhammer, anybody that knows anything about the lore, will agree across the board that the biggest point in the history of Warhammer is the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, that's when everything happens.
That's when Horus Lupercal Heresy is born.
Yes.
And as a Blood Angels player, I know that is the saddest moment in the history of the Blood Angels chapter, because that's when Sanguinius sadly leaves us because Horus is a dick.
Beep beep. No word.
I'm sorry. It's a no word. His name's Richard.
Yes.
That's his middle name. Is Horus Richard Lupercal.
Horus. Yes. That's canon now. Games Workshop. Write that down.
Yeah. Horus Richard Heresy Lupercal.
Yep. That's his name now.
Yes.
So
anyway, let's begin.
Start in the beginning.
In the beginning. Okay, so before 60 million BCE, we should talk about the universe as it's stated. The universe in Warhammer is in two states.
Yes.
There is the Immaterium and the Materium.
Yes.
The Immaterium is more commonly known as the Warp, and that is
the magic, the psychic ability or psyker, wacky magic stuff.
It's where all the chaos gods where all the chaos gods hang out.
The energy.
Yeah. Your favorite Primarch is currently hanging out there at the moment to begin with, because they have shown no want to bring him back, and it's been the Horus Heresy started in 2011.
Yep.
And we're now post-COVID, and they still have no want to bring him back.
No, he's just in timeout for now.
He's just in timeout. Yeah.
Just in timeout.
And
then the Materium.
The Materium, yeah.
All of the things that are
in there. Something of note about the Immaterium as it stands pre-Necrons is the Chaos Gods don't exist. The Chaos Gods don't exist until post-Necron Old Ones War.
Right.
Because
so you can't have Chaos Gods without chaos.
Without chaos. And you also can't have it without soul energy.
Yeah.
And this whole Old Ones, Necrons war starts puts the seeds of them there.
Yes.
In particular, Khorne nurgles each.
Yes.
Slaanesh comes a little bit later.
Yes.
About 25,000 years after the birth of the Emperor.
Yep.
But that's not right now.
Not right now.
Right now, we are talking about the Necrons.
Yes.
And the Necrons.
The Necrontyr.
The Necrontyr, yes. Yes. Pre-robo bodies, they were the Necrontyr.
Yes. Back when they were, little tadpoles in the universe.
Little baby boys in the universe.
Yep.
With cancer.
With
Lots of cancer,
yep.
because they were... they lived too close to a sun.
Yes.
And that sun was where they lived too close to the sun, just inside our habitable zone. Earth is the Goldilocks zone. They're just inside that.
Yep.
So they're constantly roasting, constantly bombarded by radiation every day.
Full of cancer. So just
life expectancy of 25. You know how it goes.
Something like that.
Yeah. So they would. They lived, like modern day humans, just their time period was a lot more extended.
Yes.
And there was a lot of infighting between the different dynasties.
Right, yes.
They lived, dynasty, basically, countries, think America, America, China, that kind of thing, different governmental bodies, they were called dynasties.
Yeah.
That's what, I believe, I might be completely wrong, but that's what the different, what's the word? Factions, yes, that's the word. That's why, in the codex for the Necrons and stuff like that, is different factions of them, and that's what your different play styles and stuff like that. Based on
the original dynasties.
Exactly,
maybe.
yeah, and that's why they're all like Egyptian themed. That's why that's why I think the Silent King's got like a Egyptian motif going on with him and all that stuff, and the whole tomb world thing. Living underground, they live in tombs.
Oh, that makes sense. If they were constantly being hit on by all of this radiation, going underground would make the most amount of sense.
Exactly. And, where's the one place the sun doesn't touch? Underground.
Yeah.
They lived very short lives, as we think. That's why the tomb worlds are called tomb worlds, is because they're dead. Started to outnumber the living.
Right.
Basically, like 1,000 to 1.
Because if everyone's dying so quickly and people are not being born as often, then it's going to catch up pretty quick.
So basically, their worlds became, and that's why their worlds are known as tomb worlds.
Makes sense.
And so basically, they decided that they were gonna, as most species do, they advance, they start moving forward, and eventually they make space travel.
Yeah.
And they meet some lovely little people called the Old Ones.
Yeah.
We don't know what they're called because they don't exist anymore.
They don't exist, and they were just old.
And they were just old. They were older. They were older than the Necrons at this point in time.
Yep.
They were more advanced than the Necrons. Now we don't know how advanced they were based off the Necrons, because as we said, the Necrons, they had a much longer development period because of how short their lifespans were. So they went to the I'm doing
spoilers.
I'm spoilers, and I'm doing the thing where I mix up those two factions because they both screw over the Necrons. The Necrontyr.
The Necrontyr, yes, for clarity's sake.
Yes.
The old ones.
So they basically went to the Old Ones and they were like, we have people just passing on in droves.
Yeah.
We just bodies piling up in the street here.
Yeah.
We got more tumors than flesh.
Yep.
Can you help us? Bit of sunscreen.
Just a little bit of SPF.
SBS immortality. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah.
And just a little bit of
just a little bit, because these old ones were so developed at this point that they were pretty much immortal.
Yeah.
Technology was super duper developed.
Yeah. The whole thing of immortality, except I have a bolter and I can go bang bang, no more Old One. That kind of immortality. They weren't impervious. They weren't impervious to shuffling off. But they were basically so far advanced, no war, no nothing. But they just went around the galaxy doing their thing, and eventually they went, no, we're not going to help you with your mortality problem because we are immortal.
No sunscreen for you.
Exactly. So the Necrons were like, no, we're going to go to war with you.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, they were like, we're going to put the smackdown on you.
Yep.
And the Necrontyr, they talked a big talk, but they couldn't walk the walk because the the old ones absolutely smacked them down.
Yep. So
much so that they essentially could not leave the planet anymore. It was too like they were you piss off God and he's going to put a constant watch on you, kind of thing.
You're going to be grounded for the rest of your very short cancer riddled life.
Yeah, exactly. They're like they were like that war thing. No, you're going to stay on your planet now.
Yeah.
Like you might be revolving around a sun that's bombarding you with radiation, but you smacked me, so you're going to stay on your planet.
You're going to stay there, or we're going to totally decimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
don't stand a chance.
Exactly. You think living till 25 was bad. Imagine not living at all.
Yeah. So living on your cancer planet's not so bad. Just stay there.
Exactly. So then a very lovely thing happened, and some very nice people called the Katana came along.
Very nice. Good neighbors.
Good neighbors. Like a good neighbor, the Katana there.
Yep.
And the Katana were like, they were basically actual gods.
Yeah.
They were like as close to a god can be.
Yeah.
Not quite chaos level.
Yeah.
Where they could warp reality.
Yeah.
But they were basically what humanity, that whole thing of, we're going to be energy.
Yeah.
We're going to evolve to a point where we're just living energy and stuff like that.
They've just developed so far, gone through all of the being Zen and whatever, and now they're just existing and being floaty stuff in space with cosmic knowledge.
Exactly, they did knowledge. Exactly, they meditated for a long time, and eventually they were like, "Whoa, no more body anymore."
Yeah,
and that was their biggest problem: is they didn't have bodies.
So
they could watch all they wanted.
They couldn't do anything.
They couldn't do anything. So they went to the Necrons and they were like, "We will help you if you build us some bodies."
Yeah,
and
seems like a fair trade.
It's a very, very big trade. I keep calling them Necrons. They're not the Necrons.
Necrontyr.
They're the Necrontyr.
Yeah.
So the Necrontyr, they were like, sure. How do you want us to build these bodies? And they had a material. They can't have this material called living metal. That's all it's called. It's just living metal. And basically, it was
metal that was alive.
Metal that was alive. You could stab it, shoot it, push it over. It would eventually fix itself.
Yeah.
Not nanotechnology, just magic metal, essentially. Magic metal. So they made bodies, and then they said to the Necron, they were like, "You could do this too."
Yeah.
That you could do this too. We could, all your warriors.
Yeah.
All of this, cancer, all this life stuff that you're going through. We can get rid of all of that for you. You will be immortal. You will live until this universe crosses over into the next one.
Yeah.
When the big bang happens in the next universe, you will be the first ones. That you will be like us.
Yeah. And
the Silent King, whose name I've forgotten, I will look it up now while we talk about him.
Yep.
The Silent King was so that war we talked about, those warring dynasties and stuff between the Necrons. Eventually, when they advanced to a point where they were like, this cancer problem that we have is more important than us gaining, power and stuff like that. We need to work together.
We need to just work together, because otherwise we're just going to keep dying. Like, we should funnel all of our resources into developing together, because we're dead either way. So we might as well, learn something, do something for the sake of our people and whatnot.
Yeah, and they have basically the head government of the Necrontyr was called the Triarch.
Right.
And essentially it was 2 advisors and then the Silent King.
Yeah.
The Silent King basically was never seen. He was constantly trying to find a way to save his planet.
Yeah.
That's one of the things is if he's guilty of one thing, it's caring too much.
Yeah.
Because basically he was like, I don't want my people to be cancerous living tumors for the rest of our time in this universe. And that's why he was so swayed by what the Catan was offering.
He just wanted anything that would guarantee a better life for his people.
Exactly.
Which, commendable.
Commendable, yeah.
He had the spirit. He had the right spirit.
And I've looked up his name here, and of course, in my history is the Silent King and Sanguinius. Because that's another thing is there's a little. We will talk about this we'll probably do a Silent King episode and a Sanguinius episode. We will definitely be doing a Sanguinius episode.
Yeah.
It's one of the next ones we're doing. I promised that. there is a little bit of a lore inconsistency. Because they originally said that the Silent King was returned recently, as in like 40k-esque era. But then in a book I can't remember the name of, they said that Sanguinius and the Silent King were tight. Yes.
Best bros.
Best buddies, yeah.
All right.
So I'm not going to say his name. I think it's Szarekh or Szarekh. Szarekh, I think, is what it is.
Szarekh.
Szarekh, that's it. Szarekh.
There we go.
Szarekh.
One thing I remember.
Yeah. Szarekh, the Silent King.
Yep.
So if he's like I said, if he's guilty of anything, it's caring too much.
Yeah.
He was trying to save his things, and the Catan were like, look, man, you can be like us. You want to be like one of the cool kids, right? You want to be cool.
Yeah. So peer pressure.
So peer pressured him into making these things called soul forges.
Yeah.
Now, what the Catan weren't telling him is they had a little taste for something called soul energy.
Yeah.
Now, soul energy is important because soul energy is what fuels the immaterium. It's what fuels the warp.
Yeah.
Now, you tell me what happens when you create a big universal war, a big galaxy-spanning war, where you release a whole bunch of warp energy.
I'm going to say things aren't probably going to go very well.
They didn't.
No.
And we'll get to that in just a moment. But keep that in the back of your mind.
Absolutely.
That soul energy is starting here.
Yeah.
This is the first time that soul energy is really being messed with, really being fiddled with by forces that shouldn't be messing with it. So the Catan make the Silent King and his whole thing. They basically say, we will make you these soul forges. We make these soul forges, and you will be like us.
Yes.
You will be immortal.
Use the living metal, build the bodies. Build
Exactly.
the forges.
Have you seen Doctor Who at all?
Snippets.
Do you know the Cybermen?
Yes.
That's what they did to the main living people of them. They stripped them of their souls.
Yep.
They stripped them of their personality. They were essentially drones, with take the human brain.
Yeah.
Take the human brain. The cortex at the bottom, the little bit that's made for living and stuff like that. That's all they left them with.
Yeah.
Now there isn't a mushy organic brain inside of every Necron, no. But basically, the energy of the mind, of the soul itself. They took that basic. I follow orders. I want to walk and talk. I want to kill.
Yeah.
They took those three things and implanted them into every base level Necron.
Yeah.
And that's when the Necron stopped being the Necrontyr and became the Necron.
Yeah.
Is when the Catan made the Silent King, tricked the Silent King into doing this.
Yeah.
Now, this didn't happen to all of them.
Yeah.
The Silent King, obviously, is quite still alive in the modern... alive in the sense of he has a functioning mind in the modern day of Warhammer. And we have my favourite Necron, Trazyn the Infinite, the megalomaniac, narcissistic kleptomaniac that he is.
Wait, is that my dad?
Yes.
Is this where we... Oh, great. Okay. I'll let Mom know.
Yeah. Ones like that, very important ones, very important Necrontyr, where they were allowed to keep their souls. And when asked about it, the Catan were like, well, some of you got to keep your souls.
Yeah.
Sorry, you still have all your legions and stuff like that. Also, we own you now. Yep. If you want to keep your souls and you don't want to happen to what happened to your legions, you might want to keep in line, buddy.
Just, follow orders and we won't zombify the rest of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Eat the rest of your brain and consciousness.
Exactly, and there were some of them, there are like a couple of low level, not low level as in like power, but low level as in like being used by Games Workshop, because the last thing they want to do is add in more characters that aren't human.
Fair enough.
Or Space Marines.
Because it's not like we've got enough right now.
Oh no, I could name at least 100 per finger on my hand. So basically, the Silent King, he felt great regret. Like he was really, really regretful for what he did.
Very sad.
Very sad. Big sad boy.
Big sad. He just condemned all of his people to be mindless drones for
the rest of time.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't condemn them to be mindless drones for the rest of time because they never existed anymore. They don't exist anymore.
Right.
Their souls got consumed by the Catan.
Right. So they're not even.
They don't exist. He basically he didn't even let them go to heaven or hell. Even though heaven and hell is just the warp.
Yes.
It's all basically where you end up.
There's just the warp.
Yeah, it's just the warp.
They just don't get to go there.
They just don't get to go there anymore. So basically, what he does is he starts plotting with the rest of the still cognizant Necrons.
The Silent King does.
The Silent King does.
Okay.
Forget about Trace and the Infinite. I just brought him up as he's an example of what happens. So basically, if there's a named Necron now, good chance that they were a high-ranking Necron back when they were the Necrontyr.
Makes sense.
So basically, he went to all of them, and they were like, we can fight our war now. We can show the old ones what to do, and that's what the Catan wanted to do as well, because they were like, the more people we kill, the more soul energy we get.
Yes.
At least I think that's what it is. I can't remember the story exactly, but basically, the Catan wanted this war as well.
Right.
They wanted this war against the old ones as well, because they saw the old ones as a threat.
Because the new gods coming in on the old gods. Old gods coming in.
Like in DC, where you got the old gods and the new gods, and the old gods are the bad ones, and the new gods are it's Warhammer. There's quote unquote good ones. The only reason that the old ones are good is because they seeded planets.
Yeah.
And that's what we should go into. So they started this war. Necrons and Catan versus the old one.
Yeah.
Old ones. But it wasn't just the Necrons. It wasn't just the Necron.
Alright, so it wasn't just the Necrons.
Yes, it wasn't just it was not the old ones. I don't even know why I was saying Necrons.
Okay, so the old ones.
Yeah, it wasn't just the old ones versus the Necrons. Basically, the old ones at this point were like, oh no, what have we done? We should have gave them sunscreen.
Yeah. We need more little beings.
We need warriors to fight for us.
We need warriors to fight our
So
wars.
they start seeding planets. They basically like, we need warriors.
Yeah.
Because this wasn't just localized to the system that the Necrons and the old ones were in at that moment.
Yeah.
This became a galaxy-wide battle. They took the old ones, and the old ones were just spread out across the galaxy.
Yeah.
They had a galaxy-wide empire. And across this empire were worlds, and they were like, we can make warriors out of these things.
Find some sustainable, some being that looks like it might do something good for us in a couple thousand years or something.
Yeah.
And then
that's the thing, is they were like in a couple of thousand years, these people this species might be amazing warriors.
Yeah.
So let's make them amazing warriors now, and
they
advanced these species massively.
Right.
And two ones of note, one that we will talk about today, and another one that we won't, are the Orcs and the Eldar.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Eldar today, and we're not going to talk about the Orcs today because they don't have a big thing in this first couple of 1,000 million years, except for the Ulanor campaign. But that comes when we're talking about the Horus Heresy.
Exactly.
So they go and they take these two and they advance them massively.
Yeah.
Now the Orcs were called the Krorks.
Right.
They weren't the Orcs at the time, and they were a lot smarter than they are today.
Right.
And they were very organized, very smart. If they'd left this intelligence, they would be up there with the Tyranids in terms of the worst threat in the galaxy in terms of modern Warhammer.
But instead, they got they took an arrow to the knee and
an arrow to the brain.
An arrow to the brain.
Is what happened.
Yeah, got lobotomized, and now they can still do what they got to do, but they're not gonna be able to.
Even though they are one of the most technologically advanced ones in the universe, because they just know how to make stuff.
Yes.
Actually, quick sidebar. Now we're talking about orcs and stuff like that. When they were fighting psychers and stuff like that, I think back in the future, there was a helmet that could protect against psychers that the orcs had.
Okay.
And so they killed an orc that had one, and they took the helmet and they tried to reverse engineer it. They reversed engineer it, but they couldn't make it work because all orc technology works off belief.
Right.
So an orc has to believe that it works for it to work. But if you're not an orc, you can't believe that an orc technology will work because you don't have orc belief. So they just made a really fancy helmet.
Just a really nice helmet that doesn't do anything.
Exactly, and that's the thing, is like you take an orc out of an orc plane, it'll just drop out the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the whole. But that's the orcs. Like I said, we're not going to talk about them too much. We're not going to talk about them anymore today. The Eldar is where it's at. We're going to talk about them in a little bit. So they start advancing. They start advancing these species and stuff like that. And those species start fighting this war against the Necrons and stuff like that.
And where the orcs were more technologically advanced, the Eldar are more advanced in matters of the warp and the immaterial.
And the spirit. And the Eldar is the thing with the Eldar is like they take it to the next level.
Yeah.
So they feel things that you know, you watch a sad movie and you cry.
Yeah.
If an Eldar watched a sad movie, they'd be in pieces.
Yeah.
They would be absolutely distraught. They would be crying their eyes out because they feel emotion and they feel sensation a lot more than a regular human does and stuff like that. And their presence in the warp is felt a lot more than the average human being is.
Exactly.
And that was very important to the old ones because they were like, we can get them to get rid of this whole warp thing that's going on.
Yeah.
So the war continues, and it's Necrons versus Necrons and Catan versus the old ones and a litany of species across the galaxy.
Yep.
The old ones were losing because the thing with the Necrons is they're robots.
Yeah.
Robots with spirits.
Yeah.
So what do you do when a robot gets wrecked? You take that information and you put it in another robot.
Yeah. You just scrap it and start again.
Exactly.
Recycle, reduce, reuse, recycle.
Exactly. But when you have a living being, you can't quite do that. You have to wait for it to grow up. You have to wait. And the old ones can only do so much.
Yeah.
They can't advance the growth cycle. They already did it. I'm pretty sure they already did it with the orcs. It's why like within a year an orc will be a boy immediately.
Yeah.
They already did it with the orcs. They grow at a rapid rate, but there's only so much you can do.
Exactly.
So the old ones were losing.
Yeah.
And eventually they do lose. Yeah. They destroyed everything. Not for lack of trying, mind you.
No.
The thing is the Catan and the Necrons, I do believe, have amazing technology.
Okay.
They could point a weapon at a sun, and like I have no idea what it would look like. I can't remember this part, but it could basically just be a flat-ended tube, and they could point it at a sun, and that sun would supernova.
Right.
Yes.
So wasn't there something about like sun eaters or something like that?
Yes, and they would consume them. Oh, I can't remember about the sun eaters, but they could take the energy from a sun and use it in their weaponry. I think is what it was.
Yeah.
I might be wrong about that. If when this goes out, if people start listening to it, I'm probably going to get lambasted in the comments. Don't come at me. I only know so much. I have a small brain.
That's all right. If there's anything that we kind of gloss over or anything that
and like
whatever.
This is a tight overview of what's happening. We might miss stuff, we might say something wrong and stuff like that, but we're going to be doing more episodes in the future over this thing, so what we get wrong now we'll make up for in the future.
We'll make up for later. But just be nice.
Please be nice. But anyway, but that's the thing is the old ones lose. The old ones inevitably lose this battle.
Decimated.
Not extinct.
Extinct. Done.
Gone. No more old ones.
No trace of anything about them left anywhere.
And then, all that was... And then the Eldar went off, the Orcs went off. They got forgotten about by the Catan and the Necrons. And that's important because that gears to the end of the Necrons.
Right.
Because the Necrons, talking about the Eldar now, the Eldar started becoming more and more powerful in this time.
So now they're just left to their own devices. They can feel things crazy on crazy levels.
Mm-hmm. They start advancing, they start building and stuff like that. And the Necron realize them as a threat, and that's why they make their toolbox. But we're not there yet.
No.
We're going to get there. So the Necron, they're like, oh, finally the war's over, but we're so sad because we don't have our souls anymore. If only there was someone to blame. And then they turned to the Catan and they were like, oh yeah.
You took all of
our
you.
Stuff. You did this to us. And they started a war against the Catan.
Right.
Now.
Revolt.
Exactly. And this is where the Catan's downfall was. Is they didn't realize that because they didn't have the numbers.
Right.
So, and you can't kill a god.
No.
But you can shatter a god.
Yep.
That's why I can't remember one right off my head, but a lot of because the katana in the codex.
Yes.
There's one powering the Silent King's chair.
Right.
Yeah.
I could see if I can find that quick.
Yeah, for sure. But so basically the Catan lose this battle, and they start getting used by the Necron as power sources, as weapons and stuff like that. But the Necron realize that right now, as it stands in the universe right now, they stand no chance against the Eldar.
Yeah, no chance.
The Eldar are the one that we need to look at here. It wasn't any of the other ones. They with the technology they had, they just agreed that they weren't going to use like Sun Eaters and Sun Killers and stuff like that anymore. Yeah. They were like, this is too powerful.
Yeah.
But they could easily make that kind of stuff again with how they were.
Exactly.
And they were like, they could defeat the Orcs in a second. But the Eldar were the problem because they don't have their souls anymore, but the Eldar do. And the Eldar were advancing rapidly, like really rapidly. So they decided to go into their tomb worlds.
Yeah.
And
go have a nice little nap.
A nice 60 million year nap.
Yeah.
So they started putting them into these tomb worlds, powering themselves off until a calculated time of when they would be able to come back out and live again.
Order 66, right?
Say again?
Order 66?
Basically, yes. Execute order. So that's basically what happened is the Silent King ordered everybody to go to bed basically. So Trajan the Infinite went into his big library and was like, I'm just going to read a book. And then he fell asleep reading the book basically. But all commanders, all troops and stuff like that, they were put into tomb worlds.
Yes.
And they were just left there for 60 million years. Except one Necron.
There's always one.
And it was the Silent King. And he was like, I need to pay penance for what I've done.
Yes.
So what he did was he flew into the void. And what the void is it's the space between galaxies. And he sat there awake for 60 million years.
Yeah.
So he was experiencing every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every year, every century for 60 million years, completely cognizant of what had been going on,
but unable to do.
So basically, he was just sat there in his chair, and he was like, "God, I suck," and he did, and he did that for 60 million years.
Yeah.
And the fact that he didn't go crazy shows how remorseful he was.
Yeah. Because
that was the one thing that he had to focus on was his remorse for what he had done for his people. So that's how remorseful he was by just. He was able to focus on that for 60 million years, and it didn't send him insane.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, it would be like I was kind of a douche to that one guy, and then just staying awake for 7 days straight, focusing on
only that.
Only that. That's the only. And then you go insane if you. I'm gonna go to bed. Why am I focusing on this anymore? No, dude stayed awake for 60 million years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, why did he come back? We don't know.
Oh,
that's the answer.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah. Some people think it's the Tyranids, because the Tyranids aren't from this galaxy.
Right.
And we'll talk about the Tyranids later on.
Yes. That'll be a whole other.
Yeah. But the Tyranids are from a different galaxy, so they think that him sat in his thing he probably saw them. Coming to this galaxy.
Yeah.
Because they aren't coming from one direction; they're coming from all around.
Right.
They're swarming the galaxy. So he probably saw them coming, and he was like,
"Oh no!
I gotta go back. Gotta go wake up my guys.
Somebody get the raid. Get the raid going.
Yeah, we need bug killers. Who has the bug killers? Oh yeah, me.
I do.
Yeah, because the Necrons realistically are the only people that would be able to go up against the Tyranids.
Yeah.
Because they have no biomass.
Right.
Because Tyranids eat biomass. They have no biomass. If the Tyranids went up against the Necron, it would be a war for years.
Yeah. Just metapod versus metapod.
Exactly, basically. Constantly hardening.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's basically the end of the beginning of everything.
Right.
Now we move on to, just a little bit later, which is 8M. So 8,000 year, 8M BCE, which is about 8,000 years before 0 BCE, before the birth of Christ.
Right.
Who might be the Emperor.
Whoa.
So no, the rough start date of the Emperor, people agree that it's somewhere between 8,000 and 0.
Yeah.
BCE.
Makes sense.
The Emperor comes about real quick because it's not a long story. No one knows how the Emperor came about.
Yeah.
One main theory is that it was a bunch of psychers, human psyker shaman. Essentially,
Okay.
they didn't know they were psychers because no one knew what a psyker was back then.
Right.
They just thought that they had mass amounts of magic.
Yeah.
They were getting visions of massive amounts of destruction.
Yeah.
Like just death.
End of all times.
End of all times, kind of thing. Revelations type stuff.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, this is obviously coming for us.
Yeah.
So they were like, they made like a we're gonna do ourselves in kind of pact.
Would these be essentially like modern day humans sort of thing in the grand scheme of things?
So this is 8,000 years before 0. So this humanity exists.
Okay.
Humanity is born. We're like Mesopotamia time.
Okay.
That kind of time.
All right.
Might not even. I can't remember. I did art class and I don't even remember what. 8,000 years was humans were a little bit more advanced than that.
Yeah.
Bronze Age
Okay,
kind of
okay.
deal.
Yeah.
So they had all this magic, psycho magic, and
Yeah.
they were like, okay, something's coming for us.
Yeah. Because everything's always about the humans all the time.
All the time. Well, they don't exist yet, but the warp has a soft spot for humanity for some reason.
For some reason.
They're like, if we're being realistic, there are only three species in the universe that have connections to the warp. Well, it's the Votan, like space dwarves.
Yep.
And the Tau too, I think.
Yeah.
So 4. It's like the Tau, Votan, the Eldar and humanity. They're like the big players.
Okay.
And the Tau isn't even included in there because they come a lot later on.
Yeah.
So basically, they're like, they're like, okay, so let's pool all of ourselves into one human being.
Yeah.
And they do, and that's where the Emperor comes about.
Oh.
That's
okay.
one theory. There's another theory. We'll go into that when we talk about the Emperor. All we need to know now is the Emperor is here and he exists. And then he immediately disappears. So he's in hiding.
Yeah.
He's pulling the strings from the shadows. He is the secret society. It's not him and a bunch of people. He is the secret society.
It's just him.
He is pulling the strings of every major power on human Earth, Terra's surface.
Yeah.
For hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So from the Emperor's birth, 0 BCE, we get to modern day, 2000s. Punk rock is on the scene and then it dies. That whole thing.
Yep.
Everything up to the 15th millennium is basically the same. And we get to the 15th millennium, and that's the golden age of technology.
Right.
Humanity is as advanced as we're going to get.
Yep.
And we're space travel, international space travel. We've colonized Mars.
Yep.
And at this point, Mars is colonized and it's terraformed.
Oh, okay.
So Mars looks like Earth. Well, Mars looks like old Earth because at the 15th millennium, it's like Coruscant. It's just one big city.
It's just one big city.
One big city.
Yeah.
And so much so. I forgot one important stuff. Just before the 15th millennium, the Navigator gene becomes a thing.
The Navigator.
Do you know what a Navigator is?
I do not know.
Okay. A Navigator is the people that they need to navigate the warp. It's why it's called the Navigator wiki.
Makes sense.
They have a third eye. If you look into the third eye, you drop. It's like immediately.
Bye bye.
Yeah. Because that third eye is their connection to the warp, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And it lets them see through the warp. It's basically using Star Wars, because we're huge Star Wars nerds also. It's the Kessel Run.
Oh, okay.
Those beacons that they put up for the Kessel Run, basically they can see what route that would be before the beacons are there.
Yeah. Or like one of the Infinity Stones kind of thing where you can see all the different realities.
Exactly, Doctor Strange style. So they can see through the warp and they're basically, okay, we need to go, right, left, right, one more left, go up a bit and then down, and you're at Fenris.
BA start, you're good.
Yeah, up, down, all that sort of stuff. So 15th millennium, warp travel is a thing where it's the great expansion.
Yeah.
Like we're seeding other planets. humanity is finally a galaxy-wide, galaxy-wide empire. Not an empire just yet.
Manifest destiny just about secured for
Exactly.
the entire galaxy.
Christopher Columbus everywhere.
Yeah.
And basically we've seeded everything.
Yeah.
15th millennium comes about and all that stuff. And then oh no, I've forgotten what happens. I'm gonna have to check my notes. I can't remember what comes first. Okay, yes. It's the Golden Age of extra technology.
Yep.
But it's also called the Age of Strife.
Right.
Because the humanity made these things called the Men of Iron.
Okay.
And there's a dog outside.
Yep.
He's going insane. Oh my lord. Anyway, so it's the Age of Strife. So they made these things called the Men of Iron.
Right.
And these Men of Iron were AI. And it's a sci-fi thing. You can guess what happens next. AI goes rogue.
Yep.
But it doesn't go. It's not exactly, it goes rogue and everything goes bad kind of thing. There were lesser AIs. The Men of Stone is what they were called, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, think of Siri on your phone, basically.
Yeah. So you've got semi-autonomous ones that can like follow orders, but they can kind of figure things out, and then you've got these
actual
actual
Men of Iron,
and then they gain.
Yeah, and it was a huge conflict, massive battles across things, spaceships just being like, and stop, everybody's gone. Yep. It basically just sucks all the air out of the ship, kind of thing.
Yep.
And humanity kind of goes through a regression, but they get through it. And this whole thing's about 10,000 years. So this is 15M to 25M.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. And then, but then we have to go and talk about the Eldar again.
Yes.
Now, why do we need to talk about the Eldar again? Well, it's because during this time they were doing all of their weird stuff.
Yeah.
So for the past millions of years, the Eldar have been advancing.
Yeah.
Advancing. They had massive worlds.
Yeah.
And
then have they split into
not
different
yet.
Factions quite yet?
Yes. Craft World and regular Eldar.
Right.
The Craft World Eldar, we'll get to them in a minute. No, so basically, they get bored.
Yeah.
So it gets to a point where the Eldar advance so much that they've got robots that do everything for them.
Yeah.
And these are actual robots, not like Men of Iron robots. They're just basically like, I am farm, I am collect water, that kind of thing.
Yep, just simple, do everything.
At this point, the Eldar are the biggest empire in the galaxy.
Yeah.
And what happens when you get bored and you have nothing to do? You try and find some fun stuff to do.
Yep.
The only issue is that they started doing some really weird things.
Because when you can feel everything all the time, you kind of get desensitized to everything.
Yeah.
So you got to go to some pretty hardcore.
Yeah. So they kind of
hardcore stuff there to.
Yeah, they started having like murder sex parties.
Yep.
And like that's a very small part of it.
Yeah.
What actually started happening, and everyone's just like, oh, I think. Quick sidebar. Slaanesh isn't like a lustful god.
Yeah.
It's sensation. It's all sensation. It's why the Emperor's Children did it. They're all on drugs.
It's excess in any form.
Yes.
Just more all the time.
A great example is after going into the 40th millennium now is the Emperor's Children when Eidolon, the first captain of the Emperor's Children, when Eidolon when he dies, Lucian, he's a real weirdo. When we talk about the Emperor's Children, we'll talk about Lucian, but he's a real weirdo. The first thing that he decides to do is that he's gonna take a little sample, a little taste of Eidolon. So he takes his spinal fluid. And he takes his blood. Yeah.
Yummy.
And he mixes it with his wine.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when Eidolon comes back, he makes that fact known because he's like, I think the exact quote is that's it. The exact quote is how can this be? I drank your blood and spinal fluid with my wine.
Yeah.
First thing he says to him after he's brought back to life by Slaanesh.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah. So everything is about excess with Slaanesh, and that's what happened with the Eldar.
Yeah.
And they were basically like killing people in the streets.
Yep.
Just drugs galore.
Anything to.
They went to Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. They went to Vegas. So,
Vegas, 24/7, everywhere.
Yeah. What happens in the Eldar Empire stays in the Eldar Empire.
Which is the entire galaxy, mostly.
Yeah, but mostly. But alongside this, you had the Craft World Eldar.
Yes.
And they were like, we need to stop this. They knew where it was going, and they knew what was happening, and they were like, we need this to stop now. So they stopped doing stuff autonomously. Yeah. They started bringing stuff back to stuff. It's why I think it's the Craft Worlds were worlds. They're basically giant space stations.
Yes.
World-sized space stations.
So the divergence here is, the Eldar that are turning to excess, those are kind of more on your fantasy rogue side. Those are like whatever, and then you get your Craft World, that's going more sci-fi. They're starting they're going backwards in their technology for the sake of their own mentality. They're deliberately regressing so they can advance. Yeah,
exactly. Because they realize that if they continue down the path they're going on, and they were invited to do this.
Yeah.
Because the other thing, you have Homeworld Eldar and then you have Craft World Eldar.
Yes.
And these Craft World Eldar were invited. They were asked to come home and partake in this.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they were like, "What are you? This is messed up, man."
Yeah.
And the Homeworld Eldar were like, "It's fine.
We're already all doing it all the time.
Yeah.
It must be fine."
Yeah. Yeah. It's what's the issue?
What's the worst that can happen?
So anyway, the worst that can happen happens. And basically, what happens is they Slaanesh.
Yes.
So
all of this energy of excess, the focus into all of this.
I forgot something really important.
Oh.
The Middle Ages. The Middle Ages. Humanity's Middle Ages.
Right.
This is why I say that the Chaos Gods have a soft spot for humanity.
Okay.
Humanity's Middle Ages specifically are what birth the three Chaos Gods at this time.
Okay.
Tzeentch, Nurgle, and Khorne are all born in this time. Because it's the excess of all three of these things.
Right.
Change, decay, and bloodshed.
Yes.
All of those things, because it's the Middle Ages,
exactly.
Crusades, the Black Plague,
yeah.
Massive tonal shifts in society and stuff like that.
You've got all of these great wars going on, all of these great sicknesses and famines.
It's essentially the
manifestation.
The manifestation. It's the Great Consumption is essentially what it is by the warp.
Yeah.
So many people die, although it wasn't a lot of people dying.
Yeah.
It was the Middle Ages. But at that point, there wouldn't be a lot of people around, so the psychic energy would be much more, intense.
Yeah, concentrated.
Concentrated on Earth. So Khorne, Nurgle, and Tzeentch come into being at these points.
Yeah.
But they have no want.
Yeah.
Then that's the other thing that we need to know before we go into the Primarch stuff is. The Chaos Gods had no want to mess with the Immaterium.
Right.
Just like how we can't in the modern 40k thing can't comprehend what the warp is, they can't comprehend the Immaterium. The Materium, I should say. Yeah. They can comprehend it. They go, this is where all these people live. There are rules. There are things in place that make this a solid thing.
Yeah.
But why? It's the same way as we look at the Immaterium and we go, there's nothing keeping these rules in place.
That's all mishmash energy floating around.
Yeah.
It's we can't wrap our little monkey brains around it.
Exactly. They know that the energy comes from there.
Yeah.
But they have no want to go there. And so then going on from that, 25M, the 25th millennium.
Yep.
Slaanesh, not Tzeentch.
Yeah.
Boo Tzeentch. Least cool of all of them. And Magnus, that's why you follow him, you big loser. We'll talk about Magnus in a little bit.
There's always one.
Yeah.
Or two.
Magnus did nothing wrong. Yeah, he was told to do nothing and he did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You'll get that later.
Get in the robot, Shinji. No, I won't.
But no. So Slaanesh comes into being.
Yeah. And where the other three were excess of their domain, so bloodshed, change, sickness, whatever.
It's all sensation for Slaanesh.
Slaanesh is the excess of excess.
Everything. It's the excess of excess. It's basically like it's
youngest child syndrome.
Youngest child. Basically, it's like all chaos marine factions could, and can you tell that we're going into a section that we know more about? All chaos factions could technically follow Slaanesh.
Yeah.
Because it's the excess of everything.
Yeah.
Blood, slash, death, blah, 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 or that blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though, is when Slaanesh is born, there is a huge psychic and warp backlash across the immaterial.
Right.
Now, one of the things that we didn't touch on is what is happening while the Eldar are doing all of their stuff.
Right.
25M is when stuff starts getting good again.
Right.
Now, the Eldar, because they're doing all of their psychic weirdness, all of this excess, all of this,
messing with the warp,
killing and banging, all that sort, taking drugs,
yeah.
ripping lines left
just
and right.
Having a bender that never ends.
It's just a million-year bender.
Yeah.
Is what, well, 1,000-year bender is what
yeah.
they're on. This causes massive issues with the warp.
Right, because if their emotions if they're emotionally attached, them doing what they're doing is gonna have consequences.
Yeah. And this is where the Old Knight comes in.
Okay.
And the Old Knight is basically the twilighting of what man's empire used to be.
Oh, okay.
And the reason that this happens is because there are so many warp storms, it's near impossible to get through the warp.
Right.
Every world is cut off from every world.
Okay.
Humanity is alone in the universe.
Total isolation.
Total isolation.
Okay.
So much so that they start evolving differently because they aren't able to get off planet to stay human.
Right.
And they're they're called squats.
Squats?
Can you guess what they are? They're human beings that evolved to be squat.
Ah.
Yeah, because they lived on planets with pressure.
Oh, so then they're just kind of like hobbling around.
Yeah, and this is the really interesting thing. They were so disconnected that there were planets of absolutely identical people across the universe.
Oh,
but they had no idea that they existed. It'd be like England and France.
Yeah,
they evolved pretty much side by side,
but had no idea.
But once they split, they became two different things.
Yeah,
but fundamentally the same.
Yeah, so they're all from the same root. They're all from the same origin.
But the only thing that's different about them is their societies.
And the environment that they're continuing to
and so it's like they'd be like, using squats as an example. There would be two squat species like millions of light years apart.
Yeah,
they're both squats.
Yeah,
but one likes Nickelback and one likes Creed.
Yeah.
It's the only way I can think about it.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, but one's Jewish, one's Christian.
Yeah,
it's exactly like that.
There's going to be one small thing, one small butterfly effect.
Yeah,
that's going to slightly change it.
Yeah,
but fundamentally
they're still the same, and that happened all over the galaxy.
Yeah.
After this, when the Great Crusade happens, not talking about Great Crusade now, just as an example, when a Great Crusade happens. They keep some, they kill some.
Yeah.
Like the Ogren, they're units you can use in the Imperial Army.
Okay.
They're basically just ogres, big ogre humans.
Right.
Just super dense in body and mind.
Yeah.
And they're from prison planets. Because they had no access to education.
Yeah.
But on a prison planet, it would be survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
So it's
have to be the biggest and the strongest. Brains don't matter.
Exactly. So the biggest and the strongest are breeding with the biggest and the strongest. So you end up with big dumb people.
Yeah.
And that happened galaxy wide.
Yeah.
Galaxy wide.
And there's all sorts of small little tweaks to experiments.
Exactly. Now, some of these went really well, and some of these went really bad.
Yes.
Some went all the way into the idea of we're just going to nuke each other.
Yep.
Because starvation was on the rise.
Yes.
Because the food worlds, how can you get to them?
Yeah, if you're totally cut off from food, you're going to starve. And
that's what happened on Terra. Is they were thirsty, they were hungry, powerless, completely isolated from every. Because, like I said, they were Coruscant.
Yeah, so there's no way.
There's no way to grow food. Farm. There's no water, no nothing.
Yeah, just metal.
Just metal for as far as the eye can see.
Everything the light touches was metal.
It was metal. What about that shadowy place, Papa? That is Mount Everest.
Yep.
Or Mount Everett, as it's known now. There's a lot of stuff like that in modern Warhammer.
Yeah.
Like America is America.
Yep.
In the actually, I'm reading through the Horus Heresy right now.
Yep.
In the first book, Also, if you want to be just depressed, read the first 3 books of the Horus Heresy. They get you really attached to characters just to watch them die.
Yep. This is is this where they've come up with all of the what's the guy's name? All of the brain fart.
It's okay, you'll get there.
Yep, I'll get there eventually.
Yeah, but no.
Carrying on for now, though.
But yeah, they mentioned that they play what is poker. They play poker, but they call it an old American game. And it's not American, it's American.
Right.
So it's Merica, America.
Oh, okay, sort of like the way in Lord of the Rings that they come up with golf as putting around heads of things that you've killed.
Yeah, and it's basically, and that's just a natural advancement. It's like these, they just get names change over time.
Exactly.
And this is the Age of Strife, the Old Knight, that whole thing. This all happens 15 to 25.
Right.
Humanity goes from being super advanced to Golden Age of technology. This time is called 3 different things. It's like the Old Knight, the Age of Strife, and the Golden Age of technology.
Depending on what you're focusing
Depending on where you're going from. And now to segue into a different faction.
Yep.
Mars. Mars has the same problem.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure why you wouldn't be able to travel from Earth to Mars, but they weren't able to. All warp travel was dead in the water, and all travel right now was warp travel.
Yeah.
So Mars goes to war with itself. They nuke the planet back to what it was, and then they all go underground. And because they all go underground, all this technology that's underground, they need to keep it running, keep it going.
Makes sense.
But over 10,000 years, religion develops.
Of course, naturally.
And so you have your refrigerator repairman.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's like, oh, great refrigerator repairman, please.
He's become a mage.
Yeah.
Sort of.
A priest.
In the ways of the electricity.
He is the fridge priest. That the AdMech develop at this time as well. They develop into what they are now, which is oh, great Magos, the toaster.
The toaster.
I wish to make love to it. And that's the current state of the AdMech.
Okay.
What they were in the 30th, what they were in 25 is what they are in the 40th.
Yeah.
Just they're more advanced.
Yeah.
And another thing that came out of this is talking about the AdMech is the STC.
Okay.
Standard template construct.
Okay.
These things, you could take them to a planet, and you could use them to make anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
It gave copy paste, so you've always got what you need.
Exactly. It explained to you how to make something on a molecular level.
Oh, okay. So no matter what you find.
Yeah, no matter what you find, you can craft it into something else. The STCs were really important.
Yeah.
Everybody who's played Warhammer knows the story of the 2 Marines that found the one for the knife. They found an STC for a really good knife.
Right.
Like a really sharp knife, can cut through anything almost.
Best knife ever.
They both got given planets.
Good, you found a knife. You can have a whole planet to yourself now.
That's literally it.
If you find a good enough knife,
not even that, you could find an STC for like a toaster.
Oh, okay.
Toasters come up a lot when talking about the AdMech because it's they love to make love to toasters.
They're little. They just like to mess with tech.
Exactly.
They're just little tech junkies.
But you could find something for like a wrench. Like you could find an STC for a drill, like a Ryobi drill.
Right.
And they would give you whatever you want.
Right. Because that's going to be a huge commodity.
Exactly. When everything and because that's one thing about the AdMech is they're not allowed to produce new stuff.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah, they're not allowed to make new stuff.
Right.
So they need these STCs
because then you can just change things.
Yeah.
And technically, you're not making something new.
Exactly.
You're just altering.
Because the Omnissiah has said it, and that's another thing. The Omnissiah is their god.
Okay.
They developed this thing called the Omnissiah, and it's basically the Omnissiah has blessed this machine to work. And it's where the joke comes from is like, how does this plasma weapon work? It superheats stuff into a plasma-like state and then fires it at the enemy. How do you fix one? We pray. And that's all they are.
Yeah. So humans become orcs to a degree. Not really.
Yeah,
but
not really. But yes. The orcs and the AdMech are very close to each other in a basic fundamental way.
Yeah.
And then so moving from that, we go to the 25th millennium.
Right.
The 25th millennium, all that stuff with Slaanesh happens.
Yep.
This is really all over the place, and I'm just realizing that.
Yeah.
And it's because we're trying to fit all of this into one episode.
Yeah.
For
we're just
everybody.
going off of our brains. Like we have no script.
Yeah, we have no script. Well, we do have notes.
Well,
we're going off a base note structure and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this episode was only supposed to be about an hour, and we're at an hour now.
And we've probably got a whole bunch more to get through.
We only have about. It's only 5,000 years.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. So anyway, all this warp stuff starts happening again. The warp clears and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the Emperor's like, oh, my time to shine.
Yeah.
The Emperor comes out of hiding.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, let's get to work.
Yeah.
So Earth at this state, it's apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's Fallout world.
Yeah.
Basically, you got cyborgs everywhere. You got techno barbarians.
Yeah.
Because
It's all of those AI, the iron.
No. All of the AI is gone. But human beings are still being adapted with technology.
Right.
So you have they're called techno barbarians. They're
just implementing.
Implementing technology into themselves to make themselves better and stuff like that. And the Emperor can't fight this on his own. So he needs to unify the people.
Right.
So he makes his custodes, but he realizes they won't be enough.
Right.
So he makes these things, and they're proto-Astartes. They're the Thunder Warriors.
Okay.
These guys, when they say that the Astartes are bred for war, they're not. Astartes are bred for diplomacy, war, peacekeeping, all that sort of stuff. When peacetime inevitably comes in Warhammer, it won't. But when peacetime inevitably we can hope comes in wartime, they will be the police force. They will be the peacekeepers, the diplomats, all that sort of stuff. The Astartes will run the planets.
Right.
The Thunder Warriors were none of this. They were bred for wartime.
Okay.
Because they were a means to an end.
Right.
And the means to the end was unifying Terra itself. And we move from Earth in the second millennium that we're in now to Terra. But he makes these Thunder Warriors.
Right.
And using these Thunder Warriors, when you put an unstoppable warrior out on the battlefield, it's gonna fight until it's dead.
It's not gonna stop.
So
if its whole function is to not stop, it's not going to.
The Thunder Warriors, they go, and the Emperor unifies Earth under one thing. It's the Imperial Truth, and it's the Empire of Man.
Yeah.
And the Imperial Truth is no religion, no all that exists is the Imperium of Man and bettering mankind.
Okay.
And that is the Imperial Truth, is the betterment of mankind, essentially.
Man
I don't have the exact quote pulled up here. He does that, and then the next part comes along, and he goes, I don't need these Thunder Warriors anymore.
Oh.
So he hunts them down.
Right.
And he gets rid of all of them, because he realizes that they won't work in a peaceful time.
Right.
But what he does realize is that he can make them better and bigger and stronger.
Ooh.
And we are now getting to the end of our episode, which is the Primarchs.
Right.
And we're going to stop off on the Primarchs, and we're going to talk about them next time. Right. But we're going to talk about their creation right now.
Okay.
So basically, the Emperor realizes that he can't just have his Astartes. He can't just have the Thunder Warriors. He's hunted the Thunder Warriors down, got rid of them all, took them off the playing field, because he realizes that having something just for wartime won't work for what he's trying to achieve.
Exactly.
And what he's trying to achieve is mankind across the galaxy in peace.
Yeah. And if you create something with the desire for war, it's just going to keep doing
war. It's going to find war.
It's going to find war, or it's going to make
Or it's going to make war, exactly. And this is the Emperor's issue from the beginning, is that he just kills everything that gets in his way.
Right. That didn't work. Goodbye.
Exactly.
Start again.
He only has a soft spot for his sons.
Yeah.
He has a soft spot for nothing else.
Yeah.
If a lowly human went up to him and was like, "You're wrong," he would flick them in the forehead and they would cease to exist.
Yeah.
He's just that powerful.
Yeah. I mean, you spend however long experiencing everything, not doing it, like just sitting there watching existence go on.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
Well, when you're a god level intellect and you're a god level, you have godlike powers, which the Emperor does. He eventually, he's the God Emperor for a reason.
Yeah. He's watched the rise, the fall of humanity
of every empire in humanity over and over and over again. Yeah. This was the Age of Strife was the point where he was like, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah, you can't keep watching this.
He can't keep watching it go by. But he realizes that he can't do it on his own.
Right.
He can't go along and just exist on his own, trying to do this on his own.
Yeah.
He has a whole galaxy out there that he needs to take care of.
And he's just one dude.
And he's just one dude.
He's God Emperor, but he's one dude. What's
his custodes, like, he can only do so much with the custodes.
Yeah.
They're his bodyguard. He needs them on Terra to take care of Terra, because Terra is the center of the human empire, of the Imperium of Man.
Of course.
So he starts making. He goes to his right hand man. He goes to Malcador and he goes, Malcador, I want 20 children. And Malcador goes, you're crazy. Let's do it. So then,
did he get him dinner first?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Malcador was like, I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
Yep.
And also, for some reason, the Emperor just has no want to reproduce normally.
Right.
Anything.
Yeah.
Like he unnaturally remakes the entire universe.
Yeah.
He's just like brute force everything. Like, shouldn't we make them live? No, brute force it.
Yep. Before
he makes his Primarchs, he goes to Mars, because Mars is back up and running.
Right.
But with the Adeptus Mechanicus in tow.
Right.
And what about the Adeptus Mechanicus goes up against the Imperial truth?
No religion.
Exactly.
Their religion is machines.
But when your religion is stronger than the little empire that you're trying to build again, you kind of have to let them do it.
Yeah.
So he makes an alliance with the Adeptus Mechanicus. He makes an alliance with them, and he's basically like, look, you can keep doing what you're doing as long as you're supplying it with stuff.
Yeah.
So technology starts getting back underway. Terra is being rebuilt. And he chooses Mount Everett, like as I said, as his base. They start building the Imperial Palace, but he's like, oh God, I wish I had someone that was so autistic about building that I could build an Imperial Palace. And then he was like, I know, I'll make a son called Rogaldorn. that comes later though. That comes later. We'll talk about him soon. So he starts making his Primarchs. He realizes that he can't do this on his own.
Right.
He wants to make sons in his image.
Yep.
Like all gods do.
Of course.
That will help him along. So he decides to make 20 children.
Right.
But he wants them to be powerful. So he starts splicing his DNA with DNA of different things, different parts of the planet. That's why you have people like Vulcan and Jagatai Khan and Lorgar, who are very much based in different parts of the planet.
Yes.
Like Jagatai Khan is quite clearly Mongolian.
Right.
The way he fights, the way he holds himself up, Mongolian.
Yeah.
Very, very Mongolian.
So getting little bits and pieces everywhere, so you've got enough diversity that each thing is powerful in its own right.
And we messed around with a few. He thought, what if I put animal DNA into one of them? And then we got Leman Russ, and it's a whole different story. But yeah, no, Leman Russ genuinely does have wolf DNA.
Yes.
Implanted in. It's why they're the space wolves.
Makes sense.
And that's the thing as well, is like, he is making them, he's building them and stuff like that. And when he has them founded, when he has them growing in the test tubes that they're doing, he's like, some warp power would probably help me get these guys moving along a little bit.
Of course.
He goes to the Chaos Gods.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Well, he promises to turn his entire empire to chaos.
Ah.
But he never does. And this pisses them off.
No kidding.
Quite a bit.
No kidding.
Yeah. So much so that when Horus is having his flashbacks to what the Emperor has done,
right?
He sees the pods, and that the symbol of chaos is on the wall in that bay. He's basically put the symbol of chaos on that wall in the bay. To summon that power to give to his children.
Right.
He's giving the power of the warp to his children, not the chaos of not the power of the individual. My mouth is not working. Not the power of the individual gods to his children. He's giving the power of the warp to his children.
Okay, so he's not being like, okay, well, this son is going to be special more at war, and you're going to be more special at the other thing.
No,
you just get all of it.
Yeah. Well, they naturally end up there. They naturally end up at, like, one is good at war, one is good at Psyker and stuff like that. But that naturally happens.
Yeah.
He was trying to do this artificially.
Right.
And that's why every single Primarch is a Psyker.
Right.
Every single one of them is a Psyker. some less so. Figure your Rogel Dawn, your Perturabo, your Lehman Russ, very, very low level psychers. But then you have your higher level psychers like Magnus, Conrad Kurz, Sanguinius, all very high level psychers.
Is there a particular reason why that sort of disparity happened?
It just happens.
Fair
well,
enough.
Magnus because of training. He has his. If you look at his mini, like if you look at his Chaos mini, he has the book on his belt.
Right.
That's Magnus's spell book.
Right.
Like he learns actual magic. Like and he because of his psychic abilities, he doesn't realize that because psychers eventually get outlawed.
Right.
People know what psychers are, and that's what I didn't mention it again. That's another outcome of the big catastrophe of the 25th. We completely glossed over. I was supposed to go back to. Quick side note. Going back a bit to the 25th millennium, Slaanesh is born. The Eye of Terror is ripped open.
Right.
You know what the Eye of Terror is, right?
I do remember learning about it. Specific details, not as much.
It's a giant hole between the materium and the immaterium.
Right.
You can fly into that and you will be in the warp.
Right.
Where you usually have to open a rift to the warp, you can go into the Eye of Terror, fly straight into it, and you will be in the warp.
So it's a constant gateway.
Yes. And Cadia was the planet. The planet fell before the guard did. Cadia was right on that the border of that.
Okay.
And even being that close to it had slight implications on the people there. Everybody born in the view of the Eye of Terror had purple eyes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and that's just being near the Eye of Terror.
Yeah.
There's no warp energy coming. Well, there is warp energy coming through that and stuff like that, but it's very minimal. It's not it's not actively being pushed through at this point.
Yeah. It's just kind of wafting.
It's just kind of it's just dust coming through the window.
Yeah.
But even so, that shows you how much it can affect living beings around it.
Yeah.
It changes their physical appearance even the slightest bit, being that close to a mass amount of warp energy.
Yeah.
And because of all of this, psychers start becoming more common.
Okay.
Yes. And eventually they get outlawed and stuff like that.
Burn the witch.
The Inquisitorius, all that sort of stuff. But psychers, they're very well known and stuff like that. And for the longest time afterwards, they are known until we'll go into this afterwards.
Yeah.
Actually, no, we'll go into it right now because it's unimportant when we actually get into the Horus Heresy. I think the Council of Nikea.
Okay.
That basically says psychers no more.
Right.
The Emperor outlaws psychers. And the reason he does this is because when the stuff happens because the Primarchs get taken away.
Right.
The Chaos Gods very unhappy.
Yeah.
Very, very unhappy with how the Emperor tricked them and fooled them and stuff like that. It's basically like, fine.
We're gonna.
They snap their Zinch. It's most probably Zinch.
Probably.
Zinch snaps his fingers essentially and sends them across the galaxy.
Right.
Sanguinius.
You didn't do what we wanted, so or you didn't do what you promised us, so we're gonna take your sons and hide them all over.
Exactly. Lehman Russ goes to Fenris. Sanguinius goes to Baal. Conrad Kurz goes to Nocturne.
Yep.
Is it Nocturne? Yes, it is Nocturne. Where else?
They all get spread out.
They all get spread out across the galaxy.
Yep.
And
and we'll go into that on each of their own
we'll mention them, and we'll even do a thing on each planet and stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah, so they get spread out across the planet and stuff like that.
Yep.
And this is where we'll end off our episode. But this is what sparks the Great Crusade.
Okay.
Because he's like, well, poopy.
all of my sons are gone.
Yeah.
I need that, but I need to
go and find them. And this is where the Great Crusade goes. He's like, I've lost my sons. I need to get this empire back underway.
Need my sons to do it, so let's go find them.
They bring up every old map with every planet, and they start going to every planet and stuff like that. And eventually, he does come across these Primarchs. The first one he finds is Horus, of course.
Yep.
And then that's when that's when the Great Crusade picks up.
Yeah.
But we will get into that when we talk about the Primarchs and everything like that.
Yeah.
But as the galaxy stands, as we stand it right now, the Eldar have fallen.
Yep.
The Imperium of Man is on the upturn.
Yep.
And the Emperor is out there trying to find his sons.
Yep.
And that's where we will hold off our episode for now.
Yeah.
That's everything that we need to know. Right here is where we would put our socials if we had any right now.
Yep.
But we don't.
Not quite there yet.
Not quite yet.
We'll be working on that, getting that up as this is picking up.
Yeah, hopefully within a couple of weeks of the first episode going out, we'll have it up and ready. Yep. Definitely by the time we post the second episode.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, thank you all for listening. We know this one was a bit of a
cluster
truck.
Yeah, cluster truck.
A massive cluster truck.
Yep.
But you know,
we'll hone in on specific things as we go.
This was just very much a foundation episode. We're just trying to get
all of the ideas out there.
Yeah, just get where the galaxy is standing at the point of the beginning of the Great Crusade, because the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy are the most important things that need to be talked about before we go into the wide world of Warhammer.
Yeah, good baseline to start out on.
Good baseline to start out, and just a quick overview of what the entire thing is. So yeah, thank you all for listening.
Yes, thank you very much.
This has been the Remembrancers library, and we look forward to doing this more and having you guys all listen to us.
Yeah, we look forward to having people tune in as we go along with this. Hopefully you guys enjoy listening to us ramble about all of this as much as we like to ramble
about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we will definitely be a lot more confident when it comes around to the other ones.
Yes.
Because this is our first time doing this.
Yes.
But anyway, thank you all for listening.
Absolutely.
And we will see you next time.
Peace out.
Bye.
Brr.